Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Rising Leaders Huddle for December. We are honored to have one of our brand new directors for our Sunshine State Superstars leadership team, Marianna, with us tonight.
Yay! So exciting.
We're excited to have you. So she is so generously going to give up some of her time and answer some questions that I have prepared for her. But before we dive into that, I just want to say one of the things that I love so much about Marianna, and I tell her this all the time, is she just blows me away. Her social media presence is something that I really notice. I've really taken note of. She has a phenomenal social media presence. She does a great job with her stories and with her posts, with a balance of sharing her life and the things that are just authentically going on in her life, and her Scentsy posts as well. She is an absolute rock star who has blown up her business in a year. She literally promoted to director the same month she celebrated her 1-year Scentiversary. So that's a pretty cool thing, right? I mean, what a way to celebrate your Scentiversary. And she's kicking butt with this current incentive trip. She's definitely somebody that if you're not already following on social media, definitely follow her. She's a great inspiration and example of just tangible things that you guys could be duplicating in your own life. So the very first question that we have for her tonight is, what drives your PRV success each month?
So if you guys see me looking down, I have little bullet points on my computer because I can go down a rabbit hole onto a completely different subject. So if you see me looking down, I'm just checking my notes. So what drives my PRV success each month? Parties, most importantly. I know parties are something that I struggled with, and I couldn't really find necessarily my favorite method of partying. But we all know that we have tons of different ways to party. It is super important that you find a party method that is going to work for you and your host. And really catering it to them. So for instance, I have some older customers who are not on social media at all. They actually found me through the consultant generator. Those type of customers, I'm not going to offer a Facebook party to because they're not on Facebook. So just being really intentional with who you're offering these different systems of partying to is really important. The second key that I have is mystery boxes. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I just started mystery boxes in September of this year, and I've been a consultant for a year, so last November, and I just started mystery boxes in September. And you guys, they are a game changer. My biggest struggle with mystery boxes is I was just overthinking it. I was getting caught up in the fluff, getting caught up in making all these cute graphics and designing these certain things. And I want to encourage you to just put all that aside. Start simple. You can always improve with each box. My first round of mystery boxes, it was like pulling teeth to get people to sign up for one. But what happened was I put my heart and soul into those boxes. And then when I launched my second round of mystery boxes, it was like the FOMO, the fear of missing out with my customers and my friends and my family. They saw my first boxes and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss out on her second boxes. Those first ones were really good. And the people that did get my first mystery box, of course, I asked them to post on social media to show their friends and their family what I was doing, with my business. So when I did my mystery boxes in October, I had 12 boxes. In September, I had 5, and it was literally pulling teeth to get those 5. So even though you may be discouraged by doing them, I really encourage you to start somewhere. If you want to make a theme, you totally can. Some great ideas for coming up for January that I was brainstorming is, since it's going to be like a new year and we may have a sale, I'm thinking of doing like a spa box, like a new year, new me, like go into the new year with, some really calming Scentsy soak and little body creams, whatever you want to do with it. But don't be afraid of it. You're afraid because it's new. And once you start doing them and you find your rhythm, you're going to be so happy that you started it. So the third bullet point is buddy drives and fundraisers. There are thousands of different ways to start a fundraiser. I know Katie has gone over them, so I'm not going to dive too much into fundraisers, but like dance teams, football teams, baseball teams, like think about who is in your circle that could benefit from a fundraiser. It could be somebody, you know, a friend or family member that's struggling financially. The options with fundraisers are endless. I personally searched the Sunshine State Superstars group for fundraiser ideas as well. So when I did my buddy drive, I catered it to fundraisers in a way, but I did it with hitting different key points. So for my buddy drive, I did it for the children at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital. So the buddies were donated to the children at the hospital. The scent packs that come with the buddies were donated to the volunteers department, because I feel like the volunteers department's kind of forgotten about sometimes. And they are literally people who volunteer their time and their efforts for free. They don't get paid to work at the hospital. They're literally there to serve the community and to serve the people in, you know, the hospital, whether it's patients, the families, anybody. So then with the funds that I earned from my commission, I donated to a nonprofit organization, which is called of my choice, which was the Her Foundation. And if you haven't heard of the Her Foundation, it's a foundation that helps mamas who suffer from hyperemesis gravidarum, which is the severe nausea and vomiting when you're pregnant. I'm a mama of 3 boys, and I had hyperemesis with every single one of them. So this particular nonprofit was near and dear to my heart. The Children's Hospital was near and dear to my heart because my brother was a kidney failure patient. His nephew was born premature and still sees doctors at Arnold Palmer. So that was why I kind of tied in all of those with the Children's Hospital, the volunteers department, and doing the nonprofit. So just kind of brainstorm and think, like, what is something that is near and dear to your heart? Is it an animal shelter? Is it a women and children shelter? Is it an adoption agency? You know, try and brainstorm these different things and see if you're able to build a connection with somebody in those facilities to be able to do a buddy drive. And don't get discouraged when you contact people and they don't respond. I contacted our local police department. I contacted the city of Longwood. I emailed a social worker that a friend of mine recommended, and I didn't hear back from any of them. The only ones that called me back was the volunteers department at Arnold Palmer. So continue to reach out, continue to offer the opportunity for fundraisers, and you will land yourself something. The last one for my PRV is Scentsy Club. So this is an area that I know I need to work on. I don't offer Scentsy Club enough to my customers. And I really think that if going into this new year, I really amp up Scentsy Club and show my customers how they could benefit from it, it's going to drive my PRV through the roof. And I'll be honest with you guys, my PRV is okay. Last month was my first month I have ever hit 2,000 PRV within Scentsy. I feel like my leadership and my recruiting is more to my favor than my PRV. So I know moving forward into the new year, I do need to work on my PRV, and these are the methods and ways that I'm trying to increase it. And for Scentsy Club, the way that I'm going to offer it to my customers is, if you don't know, in January, Bring Back My Bar is going to be coming, and that's going to be the perfect opportunity for you to offer it to your customers. And don't forget discontinued scents, because we're going to be transitioning into a new catalog season. And also, if you have customers that have no preference or don't care about partying, this is the best way to offer them a discount. I have customers who don't care to party. So guess what I'm going to do? Next month, after the holidays, I'm going to be reaching out to them and letting them know about Bring Back My Bar, letting them know I know that they don't want to party, but this is a perfect opportunity for them to be able to obtain a discount for their purchases instead of just ordering through my link, because you guys, I have enough Scentsy. I don't need to keep earning free and half price Scentsy. I would much rather my customers benefit from it than me. So to recap on PRV, it's parties, mystery boxes, buddy drives and fundraisers, and Scentsy Club.
So can you guys see why she's a director? Because I can. It says director all over her. Right? Like, wow, that was really good. That was very good. Thank you so much. Wonderful answer to that question. Such great advice. Yeah,
Because
that
it's
was
easy to just say mystery boxes or fundraisers, but some people just don't understand that. You got to try and dive a little deep into why with
yeah.
those. So hopefully that helps.
Oh, I have no doubt that it did. You guys, use the chat. Tell us. I know that helps. Okay, so question number 2. What drives your consistent recruiting or sponsoring success?
So, this is kind of a funny one. Out of my team, I want to say there is one person that I actually asked. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, and I'm going to explain why. So, my consistent recruiting has basically been from sharing on social media. And that is because we hear it all the time. People are watching you. And it's true. They are watching you. Whether you're sharing the good, the bad, whether you're just solely sharing Scentsy, like people are going to be watching you because people are nosy. And it's not a bad thing, essentially. I know I have heard from some consultants that social media is like, it consumes too much of them. So I find whenever I'm just getting wrapped up in like the scrolling, if it's causing a distraction, what I do is I just get on my social media, I make my post, and I get off. So if you feel like social media is kind of consuming you too much and you're wasting more time on it than it's benefiting you, then I encourage you to just get on, post what you need to, whether if it's just a post to your VIP page or if it's Instagram stories, whatever it is, just kind of pop on, show your face, talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, or show you changing your wax or cleaning your counters, whatever it may be. And for me, I feel like because I just remained my authentic self, I didn't just share Scentsy. I shared what I was cooking. I shared really bad things when my parents' house caught on fire, when my dad broke his ribs and I was sitting in the hospital with him. You don't want to just share Scentsy because then it makes it seem like you're just selling it. Like, yes, we sell Scentsy, we know that. But I encourage you to take the sales aspect out of it and just share it. Share what brings you joy. Like when Katie sends out her emails, share how her recognizing you and your leaders recognizing you makes you feel. But also share your everyday life, share pictures of your family or your dog or your cat, whatever it is in your life that brings you joy. It's good to remain your authentic self because there are going to be people out there that relate to you for that reason. You may think you're a crazy cat lady and that you're not going to be able to relate to anybody, but I guarantee you there are other crazy cat ladies out there that will be able to relate to you, whether you're a dog lover or whatever it is. Just do not compare yourself to other people. Remain you, and you will attract the people that are supposed to be in your circle. Because I have seen a lot with social media, especially influencers, they try to be somebody that they're not. They attract the wrong crowd. And then when they do start to show their authentic self, their audience is like, wait, why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? So it's so important. Remain who you are. Do not change yourself for anybody. Let's see. So my recruiting success, it drives a lot from really finding qualities in people that show that they want it. Like when I think of people that I want on my team, I think of people that are leaders, that could benefit from the opportunity with Scentsy. Especially people that are in offices or healthcare. Those are really good people to look out for. Identifying consultants that could, just, we're all afraid to do it. Like, I know some people, when you're looking for a new consultant, you are immediately drawn to the outgoing people. But don't always look for the outgoing people. Look for people that need Scentsy. Not everybody joins for the financial benefit. Some people join because they don't have friends and they want to make friends. So look for those type of people too. I think Emily was the only person on my team that I think I actually asked. And she was like, oh, yeah, maybe, And then when we have the $20 join special, I was like, look, this is $20. Take it or leave it. I know you would be great. And then I left it up to her. And of course, she joined. But I don't necessarily recommend doing that, like waiting for people to come to you, because people are scared. They don't know what this business entails. And that's honestly one of my goals moving forward with my business in 2022 is to identify those people that I know would be great at Scentsy or could really benefit from it, and planting those seeds with them. I do have a couple people within the last 6 months that I have been planting seeds with, but I'm waiting until January because I know with the holidays, things are busy. And obviously with a new catalog coming, it's going to be the perfect opportunity to bring them on board. But plant those seeds now, you guys. Plant those seeds. Have those conversations. Just because you ask somebody or offer the opportunity to them now doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. It may just be a now for right now, but a couple months from now, it may be a yes. I have a friend of mine who was a consultant years ago. And I've literally been telling her since I started Scentsy, I told her, hey, join Scentsy with me. Like you did it before. You could reinstate for free. And she said, no, 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 no. I ask her every single month, once a month, I ask her, hey, so-and-so, do you want to come back to Scentsy? You literally can reinstate for free. Your website's $10 a month. What do you think? She's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm this, I'm working at the airport. It's the holidays. But her saying that is not going to stop me from keeping and continuing to offer the opportunity. And then last week she messaged me and she's like, hey, what do I need to do to reinstate? I'm going to reinstate at the beginning of January. And I was like, all you need to do, call Scentsy. And I told her the steps that she needed to take to reinstate. And that was it. So guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to leave that up to her. In January, I'm going to follow up with her and say, hey, girl, have you called Scentsy? Have you called consultant support to reinstate yet? Here's my consultant ID. Be sure to give it to them. Because people get busy. We forget. They forget. So keep planting those seeds. Keep offering the opportunity. And most important, keep it simple. You don't have to look. I have diarrhea of the mouth when I first started, and I was telling people too much at once, and it was deferring them away. All you have to say is, have you ever thought about doing what I do? That's it. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? And if I have a host, I flipped a host this month, and I literally said to her, I said, hey, so-and-so, have you ever thought about doing what I do? She said, yeah, I kind of have. And I said, what's holding you back? And she said, well, I'm not too sure, to be honest. And I said, okay, well, you can make X amount of dollars from this party. You can earn your kit for free. And you have all of this left over for free Scentsy and your half price coupons. What do you think? You want to get started? She's like, yeah, sure, why not? And it's that simple. We don't have to tell them about shooting star and sensational start and PRV goals and 2,000 a month. We don't have to tell them all that. Just show how it would benefit them, especially if it's a host, because you literally can put it into dollar amount. And people are driven by money. I know I am. So I just put it into dollar amount. If it's somebody that has not hosted with me before and kind of likes my posts on social media and shows a little bit of interaction, I just try and build a relationship and build dialogue with them. And then I think, okay, how can Scentsy bless them? What is it that Scentsy can provide for them to enhance their life? And then I ask them, plain and simple, have you ever thought of doing what I do? And depending on what they say, then I, explain to them how I think Scentsy would be a great opportunity for them in their life. Like I said, it's not always financial. Some people just want friends. Some people are just like, for me, I'm a mama and I wanted something of my own. I wanted something of my own that I could say is mine, that I am in full control over. And this is my vessel. So that's pretty much it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So many great nuggets. I want to hear from you guys. Use the chat. Share with us maybe some of your takeaways or some of your light bulb moments so far. I want to say too, as you were talking, I was thinking, you're a busy mom, right? You have a family, you have 3 kids, so you're not relying on your brain to remember all these potential recruits and keep track of that, right? I'm sure you have a list, right? That's such an important part of what she's sharing as well is you gotta have a system. Even if it's just a notebook that you keep track of everybody's
I have in my phone, which I'm on my phone recording, I have in my notes tab my dream team list. And then I also have one saved to my computer, and I also have a copy of it in my planner. So anytime, if I'm scrolling on Facebook or doing whatever, and I see somebody that really stands out to me, I put them on my dream team list. And I just try and find the perfect opportunity, to follow up with them, to build that relationship with them. I'm not going out making these friendships just to pitch an opportunity for Scentsy, like, hey, come join my team, I'm really thinking like, okay, this person is complaining on Facebook how they're miserable all the time, and they're a depressed mama, or they're a bored grandma whose, grandkids don't live near, or whatever it may be. I just think, okay, what can Scentsy provide for them?
Mhm.
And that's it. And I keep my little dream team list, and then I just kind of follow up with people and make notes on my list, like, okay, followed up on this, they said that, I'll reach back out on this date. It's super important that you do this, because if not, you're going to forget.
Yep. We all have way too much going on in our minds to try to just rely on our memory. It's not
Yep.
just you, it's all of us. We're all
Yeah.
like that, guys. So if
Yep.
we have lists of our potential team members and we're making notes exactly like she said, I couldn't have said it more perfectly. Take notes so you know where you left off with those people, because as you start to get a list running of 3, 4, 5 people and
Mm-hmm.
beyond, you're not going to remember what did I say to that person last, or what's
Yep.
the reason we're waiting till January, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So super great advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So number 3, did you ever feel discouraged as you were working towards this goal of director, or did you experience any setbacks? If so, how did you overcome that?
So that kind of goes hand in hand when we're talking about like being busy. We are all busy in our own ways, whether we're parents, whether, we have to take care of siblings, whether you're taking care of your own parents, whatever it is, life is busy in general. And then when you add on the stressors of, like for me, I'm a mom, I'm a spouse, I take care of my parents, I help them, like, we can't continue to use that as an excuse. And this year I had my pregnancy, I gave birth to my son, my parents' house caught on fire. I had 3 friends pass away, all from different things. One's tragic accidents, one was drugs, another one tragic accident. And I could have easily used those circumstances to just say, forget it. And I did. At times I was like, you know what? I can't. I have too much going on. I can't give my all to my customers. I can't give my all to my team. And you feel guilty about that. But what helped me overcome it, you guys, is just being real with myself. Like, we're human. We are not meant to do it all. We're not meant to do it all. And if you just remain consistent and push through the hard times, just push through, whether you do a little bit in your business one day or a lot in one day, it does make a difference. I doubted myself many times. I know October, I think it was, I was talking to my sponsor and Katie about how close I was to reaching director, and I could have pushed for it. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, how? Like, how though? Because I have so much going on. Like, how is this even happening? Am I even going to be a good leader? Am I even going to have the time to be able to be there for my team, to be there for my customers, but then to also take care of everything else that I have going on in my life? But your mind is the most powerful tool. The most powerful tool. When you get into this set of like, oh, I don't think I can do this, I just snap yourself out of it. When you start making excuses, gosh, I just have so much going on, I'd rather sit on the couch and do nothing. Snap out of it. Because if you do a little bit now, a year from now, you're going to be so thankful that you continued. When I was pregnant with my son, I had a Zofran pump hooked up to my stomach, vomiting into a bag, and I'm sitting there at my computer messaging people for parties. Did I want to be doing that? Absolutely not. I wanted to be laid up in my bed sleeping. But I had to tell myself, if I sacrifice and I just do a little bit at a time, whatever it is right now, make sure it's PRV producing activities, not like designing graphics and stuff. But if I do a little bit now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, I'm going to be able to reap those benefits. And I think about all of the doubts and all of the things that I was going through mentally. And I can't tell you how proud I am for pulling myself out of my ruts, for pushing myself to do better, for reaching out to my sponsor and asking for help when I need it. because you guys, that's what your sponsor is for. And if you don't have a good sponsor, reach out to me, send me a message. You need help, I will help you, because life happens and we all get busy and we all have things going on, but we cannot use that as an excuse. I'm not saying like, forget what you have going on in your personal life and, just solely focus on your business. No, you need to be happy. You need to be mentally well. But that's why I love Scentsy so much, is I can be real with my people. I can tell them when I'm struggling. I can reach out to my sponsor and tell her everything that's going on. And she's there for me and she's encouraging me and she's showing me like, hey, if you need to take a little step back, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't feel guilty, because we all go through Katie calls it hills and valleys, I think, within your business. And you may get down to the bottom and feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm not good enough. I have too much going on. There were times where I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. I haven't done VIP mail in 2 months. Where do I start now? But you have to do it. You have to push yourself, because I promise you, when you get to where I am, when you reach a new title, when you reach a promotion, when you are there for your team and helping them achieve their goals, it fills a cup that nothing else can fill. And it's all because you decided to push. It's all because you decided to pick up where you left off, because it's easy to give up. And that's why majority of everybody in this business gives up, because they use what they're going through in their life as an excuse to stop. And you cannot stop. So I encourage you guys, whatever you're going through in your personal life, if your husband doesn't support you, look, my boyfriend, when I first told him I wanted to start Scentsy, he's like, okay, like, go ahead. Do not let people get in here, because there's only one person that can control this, and it's you.
So well said. Oh my goodness. Yes. Loved that answer. Okay. So number 4, in what ways do you award and recognize your team members' achievements? So basically, because there was a question Missy asked about recruits and stuff. So that's a perfect question, Missy. That'll be basically question number 5. So hang on, we'll be getting to that in a minute. But so basically, how are you recognizing and rewarding your team members' achievements? What are you doing to kind of pour into them and support them in that way?
So as a new consultant, when I had my first recruit, I'll be honest, you guys, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just winged it. And I was, showing my new consultant like what I was doing. I made her a tiny little gift bag from the Dollar Tree of like some little labels, some tape, little things that I started using when I was a new consultant, envelopes. But in the beginning, I wasn't doing like team gifts. I wasn't doing gift cards. I wasn't doing all of those things. It was just really by mouth, just sending them a message. Hey, I see you are active. Congratulations. Like you're doing amazing. And I asked them like, what are you doing? How'd you get active? Because I like to bounce ideas off of everybody in my team, because one person may be struggling. And if so-and-so shares how they were able to get active by the 2nd or 3rd day of the month, then it's like, oh, cool. Okay. So then that helps everybody else in the team. So in the beginning, it was mainly just sending messages, showing people that I saw the hard work that they were doing. I asked them, how can I help you get to where you want to be? Now I'm diving into monetary value things, because I know sometimes, especially for me when I first started out, I wanted to make samples, but I'm like, gosh, I don't really have the money to buy confetti and buy this and buy that. So I ask my team, I give them the option. Would you like me to choose a gift for you, or would you prefer a gift card? And, they tell me a gift card, and I get them a gift card to Amazon for business supplies or whatever it may be. I know our last huddle this past month, 2 of my consultants were on the call on Zoom. Nobody else attended. And because I know these 2 individuals are very, very busy people, and have a lot going on in their own lives, I just decided to send them a $10 Dunkin' gift card. Like, hey, I saw you attended our huddle. Thank you for taking the time out, to show up, to be present, to be here with us. Here's a gift from me. But it doesn't always have to be monetary values. I do that now because I set aside a portion of my commission to be able to do these things. But in the beginning, just recognizing and acknowledging those behaviors that people are doing. And it's important to find out their why, like what are their goals? Because if you have a consultant who's doing this as a hobby, you're not going to be essentially in their inbox constantly or on the phone with them constantly training them, versus somebody who is like dead set, ready to hit director, ready to climb ranks, or ready to build a team. You're going to train them much more different than how you would somebody else. And what I started to do that really helped me with this is I have a new consultant Google Doc form. And so when I have a new consultant sign up under me, I send this the form to them, and I ask them, hey, whenever you have time, can you fill this out for me? It's going to help me be able to build a better connection with you and see what you want to do with your business and how you are goal driven or what your love language is, you know, to be able to really connect with them and to see what is it that they want out of Scentsy. And if I have a consultant who is driven by gifts, guess what I'm going to do? Their love language is giving, or they like gifts. I'm going to be giving, you know, gifting them things when I can. Of course, not all the time, but when I can. Versus somebody who their love language is words of affirmation. I'm going to be constantly, you know, telling them, hey, I see you're working hard. I'm very proud of you. Hey, I see you stepped out of your comfort zone and you're doing vendor events. I've had consultants who were afraid of doing in-person parties and started doing, you know, some in-person parties and were very successful with that. And I follow up with them like, hey, how did it go? Hey, how was your vendor event? And it shows that I care, because I do care, because whatever it is that they want, I'm trying to help them get there. So if, for instance, I have a consultant who just recently started doing some vendor events, and her first one did not go over well. She could have easily said, no, vendor events aren't for me. I don't want to do this anymore. And I was telling her, no, keep going. I encourage you to try another one. And I follow up with her and asked her, how did this vendor event go? I gave her, you know, specific little tips to take with her when she was doing it. So really just trying to find out with your team, what are their goals? Why is it that you know, that they're doing Scentsy, and helping them get there. That's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. And I like what you said too about the Google form. Joanne's on here. I know Joanne does a Google form as well for her new recruits. And I think that's such a wonderful idea. I have a form that I send them, that I have them, like I email it to them and I have them fill it out and just send me a picture. But I need to transfer that to a Google form. It would just be a whole lot easier. It's such a good idea, because so many times when you're asking them these questions, they kind of feel on the spot, and it's like hard for them to actually like really make it clear what, like, express
what it is
themselves
that
well. And so this way they have the time to really think on it as they're filling out the form. I just think that's such a great idea. And if you guys aren't already doing that, you absolutely should implement that. It's a great idea. And if you have the opportunity, if you wouldn't mind, you and Joanne, it'd be cool to see both of your forms, just to see the diversity. I bet it's a lot of the same kind of questions, but if you don't mind, it would be wonderful if, when you have the chance, you could post the link to your Google form in the event for this huddle, so that way they could see it. And of course, you can't use hers. You'd have to create your own, but hers can just give you an idea of what kind of questions you could put on your own form.
Yep. And I keep mine, you'll see once I post it, I just keep it simple. And I created this Google Doc form primarily because when I had my first consultant, I didn't think of no forms. I didn't need no forms. I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. But I asked her, I'm like, hey, like, why do you want to join Scentsy? And she was like, I need extra money. But then guess what? As I started building a team, I forgot what her why was. So when you have the Google Doc form, you can go back and you can see, okay, so-and-so's name, like, you know, why is it they started Scentsy? What is it that they're gaining from it? So it's a good tool to have, because we can't remember everything up here. So it's a way to have something to reference back to.
Exactly. Absolutely. Okay, last question. This has been awesome. I mean, I'm just sitting here just like, it's so much fun for me, because I love listening and just watching, you know, your growth as a leader. It's just so cool to see, you know, when I get these opportunities. So I just love hearing from you. I'm just so impressed with all the wonderful advice she's sharing. Great tips. I hope you guys are soaking it all up, because this is really awesome. Okay,
Thank
so number 5, last but not least, how are you working with your team members to help them grow? And this kind of goes
So,
along with Missy's question about how do you help them certify or stay motivated in your new recruits. So they kind of go hand in hand because, as I'm sure you're going to say, a lot of it starts from the very beginning. But you go ahead and you do you share you.
yeah. So, um, this comes from a learning opportunity that I had when I was a new consultant. I know I said earlier in the training, I kind of had diarrhea of the mouth sometimes, and it's too overwhelming. So with my new recruits and for my team in general, I try to do everything in bite-sized chunks. And that's kind of how I am. Because if you overwhelm them with too much information, they're not going to do anything. So for instance, when I have a new consultant, I don't remember who I got it from. I want to say Chastity Robinson I got it from, but there was a new consultant guide, like training form, and I took that and I ran with it. And that's literally what I use with my new consultants. And I will share it with you guys in the group after our huddle, but it breaks everything down into what it is you want to go over with them. And then underneath it, it gives them essentially like homework. And it follows along the path with helping them to be able to obtain shooting star, getting certified, sensational star, all the different levels. But you're also able to teach them, of course, like how to open a party link, how to close a party link. But it's literally in bite-sized chunks over a course of like small span of days. I know I want to say I've seen one in here, if I'm not mistaken. But long story short, just don't overwhelm people with too much information. If it's a consultant that's already on your team, I just reach out to my team and I ask them, how can I help you get to where you want to be? What goals do you have? Maybe it's a consultant that's been on your team for a year and they've just been a hobbyist. Reach out to them and just say, hey, so-and-so, the new year's coming up. I just wanted to check in with you and see if you had any new goals for your Scentsy business. That's it. If they say they don't have any goals, they're just still, flying by the seat of their pants and enjoying their Scentsy hobby, then you just leave it at that. But if you have somebody that's interested in building a team or getting certified or whatever it may be, just break things off to them in small chunks versus giving them too much information. And I learned this too with one of my consultants, that she was too overwhelmed by all the things. So I just gave her one task for the week to do. And I was like, focus on this. And I will, we'll talk later this week and we'll see how it went. Because we all have so many things going on in our head and in our lives that when we sit down to do our business, we're like, oh my gosh, panic. Like, where do I even start? I want to get to lead consultant, but how do I even get there? So just little bite-sized pieces, find out what it is that they want to do with their business and just show them the way of how they would get there. That's pretty much it.
What would you say, kind of bouncing off of this question, what would your advice be for somebody who, like, their why, what they want in their business, and you see that they've kind of stalled and they've hit a wall? What do you typically do to try to help, reignite that passion in that person? And how many times, do you feel like are too many times to keep trying? Like, when do you decide, hey, it's time to give up and let this person be, if you will? What are your thoughts on that?
So I have had a consultant on my team who, they get their kit, they're all excited. They're like, woo, go Scentsy, let's go. I'm ready to start my business. I'm ready to build a team. 30 days pass, boom, nothing. I just reach out to them and I just see how I can help, because things happen and life happens and people get busy, and I just try and see, is it something that they're going through in their business where they're stuck and they need help, or is it something personal? And people don't have to tell you their personal business, but I just try to see how I don't like to be an excuse maker. I like to be a problem solver. So I try to see what the problem is and how can I solve it. And I have reached out to a consultant and, said, hey, what's going on? Like, I see you kind of hit a roadblock, or, you're not active. How can I help you get active? But you can't lead a horse to water and make it drink. And that was one thing I did struggle with in the beginning, is I kept wanting to help and help and help and help. But then it started to take time away from my consultants who actually needed my help and were driven and wanted to. So the way that I put it for me is I reach out to people a couple times and I offer my assistance, I offer my help, I check in with them. I try to see what's going on, what we can do to get them to where they need to be or get them back on track. Especially if they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to start, like they have VIP mails stacking up and all the things that they need to do. I just help them brainstorm and see what's a priority now and what can wait. And if it's somebody that I'm constantly reaching out to and they're just reading my messages and not replying, or, they just don't seem to have an interest, I don't give up on them, but I just kind of give them space. Just give them a little bit of space, and come back to it, a month later, check in with them monthly. Your people best. It's just like my consultants, I know them best. And I know when somebody, for instance, just has a lot going on and just needs some time away, and I just give them that. But I also don't give up on them. So if you have somebody on your team that has just stopped and hasn't wanted to do anything, don't let it discourage you, because I'm like, gosh, what did I do wrong? I feel guilty, like I did something, and it's not you. It's just people let their minds consume everything and they put their business on the back burner, and they just have to come back to it at another time. And whether that's, when you reach out to them the first time or the 10th time, you just kind of have to let it happen when it happens.
Great advice. So one more thing I want to cover before we let you go. And really, I guess what I want to ask you is, did you ever did you ever have doubts that you would actually promote to director? Did it ever feel like it was like a far-fetched goal and you thought, no, not me, I really can't achieve that? And how do you feel now that you've achieved it?
It's crazy, because I remember during our last incentive, the keep going, keep growing, I was just kind of cruising along. I was working my business, but I wasn't partying much. I was kind of just working with my current customers and friends and family. And I remember my sponsor reached out to me and was like, hey, you're only this many points away. And it wasn't a lot. It was very obtainable. She's like, you're only this amount away from level 2 of the incentive. How can I help you get there? And I was like, what? I'm close to a level of an incentive? Like, what are you talking about? Because when I first started as a consultant, you hear about incentive trips and, all of these things that you can work towards, but it never feels real until you do it. And I remember rereading her message and thinking, oh my gosh, if I just put a little bit more effort, if I kind of just kick it up a notch, then I'm going to be able to earn this incentive. And I did. And once I earned that incentive, I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. And I just started to kind of keep turning the wheels, building up momentum. Of course, I was super pregnant and sick, so I was doing what I could. But I remember thinking, like, director, that will never happen, because you hear people being with Scentsy for like 5, 10, 15 years, and you're like, man, that's going to take forever, forever to reach director or star director or superstar director. But honestly, I just made a plan. Like, my sponsor and I, Jasmine, we just kind of kept in contact and just made a plan. And even when things got hard, that's what I was saying, like, reach out to your people. And even if it's not your sponsor, you can make friends within Scentsy. Like, if you find a consultant that, motivates you or inspires you, try and reach out to them. build a relationship with them. And I just found like-minded people that wanted this and wanted to promote and wanted to build teams and wanted to build a big business. And I just kept pushing. But I did doubt myself, especially when I was experiencing things in life, like my parents' house catching on fire and like all of these things. I'm like, oh, great. Now this is going to super set me back. Now I can't work my business. It's easy to find excuses and to completely doubt yourself, but that's why I say your mind is your the most powerful tool you have, and you are in control of it because you are the only person that can feed yourself negativity or feed yourself positivity. So anytime I kept doubting myself or thinking, God, no, like I'm never going to reach director, I'm never going to reach superstar consultant. I remember Jasmine telling me like, girl, you're going to hit superstar consultant this month. And I'm like, what? Like literally, I was mind blown. And then in November or in October, when I was so close to hitting director, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And then I'm thinking, okay, like November's going to start. We're going to start fresh with 0 PRV. I'm like, can I pull this off? Like, is this really going to be possible? And I'm like, look, I'm not even going to think about this. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not focusing on a title. I'm not focusing on hitting director. I'm just focusing on my little goals that I have, helping my team reach their goals. And then it just happened. It happened organically. Because in October, I probably could have pushed for it and still got it. But I essentially just wanted to let it happen the way it was supposed to happen. And it did. So it is crazy to think about all the doubts and negative thoughts. Sorry, there's hair on my face. All the doubts and negative thoughts that I had. And then literally a year later, like the month of my anniversary with Cincy was the month I promoted to director. And I'm like, it's just crazy to even think about. Like, director, what?
How does it feel? How does it feel to be a director?
It doesn't feel much different, to be honest. It feels the same, but in another manner, I'm wanting to get more organized, like with my team, like building a team page, just really being a vessel for them and just serving them. But it doesn't feel much different. It's funny because all day today, I was not nervous about getting on and talking tonight until like 30 minutes before 8:30 hit, and I was like, Facebook sent me a reminder notification and it's like, oh, huddle soon at 9 p.m. and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, I don't know how to get on camera. And then I'm like, oh, my lighting's poor, I need to find my ring. I'm like panicking, making all these excuses. I'm like, you know what, Marianna, just get out of your head. Go talk to your Cincy family, make some new friends. Speaking of, I think Emma is on. I think I just saw her comment. She's a consultant who reached out to me and was like, hey, I just saw you promoted to director. I'm looking for, a Cincy family buddy, an accountability partner. And so she's one of my new friends. And we've kind of just been brainstorming. Like, her PRV is super bomb. Mm-hmm. And she knows she needs to work more. Sorry to put your stuff out there, Emma. I apologize. I didn't even think about that, but she's super great in one area where I'm lacking, and I'm super great in one area where she's lacking. So now we're just kind of collaborating with each other and sharing ideas and brainstorming for the new year. So it's really nice because we can build literal like crazy friendships within this company that I never would have met these people otherwise. So I'm super blessed. I don't feel any different as director, but I do feel like I need to kind of get some things, my ducks in a row, especially as a leader, but I'm excited.
Wait till you go to director boot camp.
Oh, I say I'm ready, but I know when the time comes, I'm going to be like, oh my God, like, what do I do?
Going to home office for the director boot camp, y'all, that was one of the highlights of my career. That was so amazing because it's your first trip. Usually it's your first trip to home office, and it is incredible to experience that, to see that, to go to manufacturing and like make things. Like, you get to make pods and like see how they make things, and like it's just the coolest experience. And you get to sign your name on the director wall, and they do all kinds of cool special things for you.
How do they usually like facilitate that? Like, let you know ahead of time, and like Like, do you book your own stuff to go out there to do it?
Yeah, so you'll have the registration fee for director boot camp when you're a director is $100, and that covers
Mm-hmm.
your hotel. So
Oh.
yeah, so the only other expense that you have is your travel to get out there. They also usually cater your meals as well. Usually you have breakfast in the hotel and then lunch at Cincy, and then usually dinners with Cincy as well. So it's
Oh.
your registration cost and then your flight to get out there. So
That's not bad at all. I was thinking way worse. I'm like, man, I need to start saving up a couple grand or like
oh no, no,
to go on these trips.
no.
But
Cincy makes
yeah,
it really attainable to go. They really, really do. So
I'm
y'all, when
excited.
when all of you guys promote to director, you've got to make director
Yes.
boot camp a priority because it's incredible. It really, really is.
Mhm.
It's very special.
I'm
All right,
looking
y'all.
forward.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this recording.